Welcome to On the Table, a podcast about board games, card games, and tabletop war games. Welcome back to episode 71 of the On the Table Gaming Podcast. I'm Chase, and I'm joined with Josh. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Man, this quarantine situation, it's really starting to wear on me.
Yeah, it's definitely getting pretty old, but we got big news on the horizon, so that's that's good for the game.
Oh my gosh. And so, I mean, literally, I've been buried with A Song of Ice and Fire cool content here. I mean, we have, 3 new game modes were released last week. So now we're really getting up there with, crazy things. And we've got the First in Battle campaign, which I've still been looking over. And I haven't been able to play any of these things. So this week, guys, do look out. We're putting up videos along with other content creators for the On the Table Gaming Online Tabletop Tournament Championship. This has really kind of been like a pilot run. So we've got 8 players from around the world, and we're doing it in a hodgepodge of ways. So if it's been hard to follow, it makes sense. Where some of them are being streamed, and a lot of them are being recorded and then uploaded. So we're going to be trying to compile all the recorded ones on onthetablegaming.com. And it's just been exciting trying to edit and upload all of that content. But really, this is kind of more so about us doing a test run to see how this format might work so that we can learn from it and do like a bigger, better thing. But stay tuned for more information on that. It's really been exciting. And the guys they're all great. And it's fun to see everyone get together and play. Tabletop Simulator can sometimes be a little bit of a bear to get used to.
100%.
Where you're like, go to move your unit and, you didn't hit the right thing to lock stuff down or who knows what, and it
flies out.
Yeah. Or I had one where it I moved my train, everything fell off, but then it was magnetized, so everything clumped to it like a weird death ball black hole thing, and I just had this a fist of a tray with all these miniatures on all sides of it stuck to it.
So it's definitely, there's a pretty steep learning curve, and the penalties for failure are pretty dramatic. But at least you can always rewind, right? So that if you do screw it up and you're
right,
carefully inching your tray into contact with an enemy, and then it flies all over the table, you can at least go back.
But at the same time, we live in a world where that's a possibility, right? Where we can be playing games across the internet as if we were there in real person, in person. It's the future. The future is here.
Yeah, tabletop simulators are great. It's awesome. It's so good for people who want to play tabletop at home.
Another cool thing I was checking out was Duncan Rhodes, who came on the podcast not too long ago. He has the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, which he just opened up, and it's $3.99 British pounds, which converts to in American dollars, but
$5
$5 or something. I did subscribe to that to check it out, and so he's got a website you can go to and log in and look at painting tutorials, and he does have some Song of Ice and Fire stuff out there and coming. So right now I think he's got the Baratheon Wardens painting tutorial, so I was checking that out. I've got a starter set I want to paint up, so I might be following along. I was actually got more interested in some of his stuff on basing, because for my Targaryens, which is what I'm really excited to start painting up right now, I want to do cool scenic bases, and so he had some good like dusty dirt, sandy style basing. And a lot of that, if you guys want to check out that website, I mean, to be frank, a lot of it's still coming. So he's got things in every category, but it's he's talked to me and he's got a lot of cool stuff coming. He's gonna have all the core sets eventually done for Song of Ice and Fire, so that's getting rolled out on a weekly basis. So cool to check in if you want to get in there early. If you wait a few weeks and jump in, that would probably be a lot more content, but it's cool to be there instantly and roll it out and support a fellow hobbyist. And then we got some Baratheon stuff here. Maybe we'll hold off on the game modes and we'll talk about Baratheons. Which Baratheon set should we talk about first?
We have to go with Stannis, the man.
Stannis. Oh man. Okay. After Michael Sinal sort of teasingly had a little had some words to say about Stannis on a live stream Q&A we did recently. I feel like it's only fair to give Stannis another shot here. He had some fighting words.
Oh, did he? I didn't hear it.
Oh boy.
He's talking some smack?
It's a few minutes of him talking about how Stannis maybe never accomplished anything of worthwhile, has no significant military victories, and he just had some perspectives on it, I think.
He killed the wildlings at the wall, right?
That's true.
Something.
That's true. I know.
That's
That might be significant
that's a
to
win.
me. That's a win. That's true. Fair enough. He killed some wildlings. You're right.
Yeah. And he survived that siege thanks
as
to
a wildling commander. Many people have killed wildlings at this point. But so that was funny. I know some people got a little concerned. He's having fun, guys. He's just poking fun.
Hey, he would have won. He also would have won the Battle of Blackwater if it weren't for.
Well, if we're counting would have won here, then I got some.
You have to, don't you?
Won stories. So yeah, let's jump in with Stannis. And so first off, I mean, there's been so much content. I think we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 10 or 11 things to talk about here. Starting off with that unit, the Roller Faithful.
These guys, they look pretty interesting. Although they're already getting a little bit of, I don't want to say hate, but like they're getting a little bit of the, where do these guys fit in to the faction?
Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, movement speed 5, Sword of the Faith. They hit in a 3+, 8, 6, 4, 5+ armor, 4+ morale. But the real moneymaker here is in these two abilities: Sword of the Faith, which gives them vicious, and then their ability Heart of Fire. Each time this unit passes a morale test, it gains 1 faith token. It may expend the faith tokens to do the following. After this unit is attacked with melee, the attacker suffers a panic test with a -1 to their roll for each remaining rank in this unit. And then when this unit is destroyed, one other roller unit within long range may make a free attack action.
I mean, what do you think?
I think what it comes down to is, I think part of 7 points, I look at this as really an 8-point unit, in that I might want to drop something like a Bolton Flayer in here that has Prey on Fear. So each time the enemy engaged with this unit fails a panic test, the unit may restore up to 2 wounds. Because I see like this is like, I don't know how many ways you can play. It's sort of it's an expensive unit with 5+ armor, but it can put out a lot of hurt. Like, how are you going to keep this alive?
The 5+ armor is really rough. Obviously, the 4+ morale, you're almost never taking morale wounds ever. Right. But I think you're right. Like, putting that Bolton Flayer in there is probably a good idea, just to give them a little bit more survivability. Because 5+ armor is just that's.
I mean, am I missing something? Like, what else do you want to put in there? I mean, Master Warden enemies don't gain charge bonuses. Like, no, like these guys are gonna get. Because I'm looking at these guys kind of like Cave Dweller Savages, right? Same morale, 5+ armor instead of 6+ armor. But the way most people roll, 5+ armor ain't much better than 6+ armor.
Yeah.
So,
and I gotta say, like, their overall damage output, I mean, they should be hitting some number of times, but vicious only matters if you do wounds. You know what I mean? And so, especially if you like get these guys down to their last rank where they're rolling 4 dice, it's like they're gonna be tough,
right? And so you don't want to put any of the more heavy attachments in there, because then you're really sitting at a 9-point unit or something that doesn't have any staying power.
Yeah.
So I think these guys are they're kind of glass cannoning. And I think that the problem I see with Stannis Baratheon right now is that the hero box that kind of opened up a taste of some of the things that Stannis Baratheon's forces are going to be able to do. But it's like, it's a breadth versus depth situation where it's like it seems like there's 4 kind of sub themes or things they can do. So they've got their panic based damage with these guys, and like Melisandre. You've got your self damage for benefits units. You've got your mobility guys with like the Seaworth guys, and then you've got your condition play with like Axel Florent. So you got like 4 ways you can go, but right now you've got 1 new unit, the Roller Faithful, and so it's just like we're kind of in like the thin water here. Whereas I feel like when we talk about Renly on a future episode, like it's a little bit more straightforward, and so it seems like it might synergize more right now.
I think given that we really have very, very few actual units to play with in Baratheons right now, it probably just feels that way at the moment, and it's not, doesn't make it not true. It's just
right.
That.
But like in 6 months or more or less, hopefully less, in 6 months, we might have a faction where it's like Stannis can just do so much, like so many styles of play.
I think about that. It's like, is that more of an advantage to be able to have a little more flexibility? Like when you can do one thing really well with Renly, that's great. But then, if your opponent has something that can counter that or, kind of disrupt that plan, there is no plan B, right? But, a faction that has the ability to play a lot of different styles, I think is a good thing. But you do need enough support for it, right? Because if you have a bunch of like underdeveloped sort of tactics, then obviously, you're not going to be doing a whole lot with them.
Right. And I think, I guess the funny thing, I hadn't really been thinking about like competitive play with Baratheons much, mostly because I feel like you've been mostly running them, and I will probably paint some, but I probably won't go heavy into Baratheon. But I guess you go to a tournament event and you have two lists. You could have a Stannis list and a Renly list.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, I was just thinking of like, oh no, I just have two Stannis lists or something. You can have a lot of options with this faction.
Totally. I mean, it's two different armies basically. It's pretty cool.
So kind of moving on from the Roller Faithful, we have a new commander, a new Stannis commander, which is Stannis Baratheon, the One True King. So he's got affiliation roller. He's fearless. The unit may never suffer penalties to morale and may never become panicked. And obviously Stannis has loyalty, Stannis Baratheon. Taking a look at his tactics cards here, Josh, what are you thinking of his 3 tactics cards here?
Let's see. So, I think first of all, like, where do you put him in the Roller Faithful? Really reinforce that morale.
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Let's see. So, first one is I never know how to say this word, Azor Ahai.
Yeah, there we go. That's why I made you say
it. When friendly combat units attack with melee before attack dice are rolled, the attacker suffers D3 plus 1 automatic hits. If the defender is a roller unit, the attacker suffers 4 automatic hits instead of rolling. So, yeah, I mean, that seems pretty good. You definitely want to lean into the roller sort of sub-faction then if you're going to be using this commander. Then we have Harsh Decisions. When a friendly combat unit activates, the unit may suffer D3 wounds to gain one of the following effects until the end of turn. +2 attack dice, cannot suffer disorderly charges. This unit may make a pivot before choosing its action. And if this unit is a roller unit, it may choose 1 additional effect. So that is awesome.
And that kind of plays into that sub theme of like you do self damage for benefits.
Yes.
And I think maybe down the line we should talk about. Yes, and this is where like maybe stagnates are starting to come more into play, because I right now the other units you don't really want to be taking a ton of wounds unnecessarily on.
Yeah, they don't, because they don't take, it's not like the Berserker stat line where they're getting better, they're getting angrier. It's like they're getting shittier, right? So then you have the Roller Faithfuls and they're rolling 4 dice. It's like, cool, I'm going to give them +2 dice. Well, you could just not take the wounds.
Don't hurt me, bro.
So then the final one is when a friendly roller unit activates, that unit suffers a panic test. On a success, attach this card to that unit until the end of the round. While attached, this unit gets +1 to defense save rolls. So that's obviously the perfect card for Roller Faithful, right? Because then that gets their defense save up to a 4+. You might have Stagnites go all the way up to a 3+ for, which they should be probably anyway. Or a unit of Wardens to a 2+. So that's, pretty good. I guess if you want to bunker Stannis in with a unit and get like a Warden unit all the way up to 2+ armor save, throw this on there.
That's terrifying. I mean, I guess heck, even like Sentinels at 3+ is nice.
Really?
I mean, I guess honestly, anything getting to the 3+, all their units +1 armor. That's a great. I mean, that might be the best card out of those 3. Well, no, Harsh Decisions is really good, but you're paying for it.
The thing is about Sentinels is they have such a trash morale. Like they have a 7+. That they're a little harder to. You might just roll under and screw that up.
But if he's in there, right? They never. They never suffer penalties.
If they give him like a +2, like if they had like Stalwart, this might be a good campaign card.
Oh yeah.
And doesn't that card have to be does it have to be a roller unit that does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, yeah. So then that skip everything I just said. Although, actually, sorry. So if you put Stannis in with the Sentinels,
right,
that's a lot of work to get to like a mediocre. That might not happen at all. Like, what are the odds? I feel like obviously this commander is like you're probably going to be leaning pretty heavily into that roll sort of sub theme.
Right.
Otherwise,
that's how they roll lore. Are we saying that right? Is someone are we gonna get hate mail where it's like, dude, it's Raholor.
Yeah,
it's a silent R.
There's four consonants and an apostrophe in a row before you get to a vowel. So who the heck
Are
knows?
we sure this is what it's even called? This is a typo on the cards. It's like, all right, and then our next commander is an NCU commander, Axel Florent, the first of the Queen's Men. So he's got Roller's Blessing, and it's an influence. So when he influences a friendly combat unit, you may remove one condition token from it. And when influencing a friendly unit, it counts as a roller unit, which is something that like maybe you'd want to have in the that other commander.
Stannis?
Yeah.
Well, you can't use them both.
I know, right? But it's like, gosh, this is the perfect thing to give people roller status.
It's funny because the NCU, not to jump ahead, but the NCU version, like the point version, does not grant roller affiliation. Yeah.
So wishful thinking. Right. But most of his tactics cards play off of roller units. So you want to make the unit you're going to be targeting with your tactics cards that subtype. The thing is, it makes it a little bit more predictable. But let's go through his tactics cards and see what they do. So Roller's Wrath, when a friendly engaged combat unit makes a melee attack, this attack rolls +2 attack dice. If the attack is a roller unit, this attack also gains Sundering. So +2 dice in Sundering, that's great. Even putting that on your Stag Knights again, you can choose other benefits now, and you got a even beefier stat line.
Even if you throw that on the Roller Faithful, now they're rolling 10 dice on a 3+ with Sundering. They're basically like best case scenario berserkers. So then you also have a really good unit on your hands.
Yeah. Fiery Resolve, when a friendly unit passes a morale test, one enemy combat unit within short range of that friendly unit becomes panicked. If the friendly unit is a roller unit, the enemy also becomes weakened. Yeah, that's the panic damage theme. I guess that's sort of central to roller. And that's why I think that the Flayer, getting those healing up might be really useful.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So you're counting on. So again, like this is like perfect roller faithful, unit where you attack me, I take some wounds, but then I pass my panic test because of course I do. I play this, you become panicked, and then also you become weakened. It's like that's pretty good.
Right, and then you nuke with Melisandre, and you heal 4 wounds in a round.
Pretty good.
Maybe that's what keeps you alive. And then there's fire. Yeah, and then there's Fiery Charge. When a friendly combat unit successfully charges, the defender becomes panicked. If the attacker is a roller unit, then the defender also becomes vulnerable. So you got your Sundering, you got your vulnerable, you got your weakened token play. So there's a lot of options here.
You could play Fiery Charge into a Roller's Wrath, right? Because they're 2 different triggers. One's on charge, one's on the melee. So if you set up the right attack, because they don't overlap at all, if you're using the Roller Faithful, you literally roll 10 dice on a 3+ with Sundering. They're going to be panicked, vulnerable, and you'll have Vicious. It's like that's going to be a alpha strike against something.
Side note, isn't a attack part of a charge though?
I thought they were 2 separate activities.
Oh, I gotta double check that. All right, we'll leave it in if it's otherwise.
Rules lawyers, please let us know how I'm right or wrong here.
And then he's got an NCU version, which you were kind of hinting at as well. He's a 3-point NCU. Whenever this unit activates, whenever you influence the unit, and then whenever the influence unit activates, each player may expend 1 condition token from it to deal 2 wounds.
This is interesting. So he's influencing a unit, and then I can either spend condition tokens that I've put on you to deal 2 wounds, or I can remove condition tokens from my own unit at the cost of 2 wounds.
Right. So this kind of goes back to that condition play.
Yeah.
So where you might want to. So the NCU version allows you basically to the NCU commander allows you to remove tokens from people he's influencing. This one allows you to expend them and deal damage. So I guess maybe that's another pairing with the Stag Knights, where it's like, go ahead, hurt me. So they activate, they take that damage to get an additional rank of abilities, maybe.
You already have to have had a condition token put on you, which is not uncommon, but still. Right. And then the weirdest part is each player can do that.
So you could use this to get tokens off of your own guys if you really need it, or you just do it to do straight wounds to your opponent.
Yeah, but then obviously they're not going to do that, or they get to make the choice of whatever they think is most.
Well, they might be like, I'd rather take 2 wounds and be able to not have my guys be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know.
It's weird. It's a weird card.
But I feel like that's going to pair well with Shira Errol or some of the characters that let you throw out tokens a little bit more easily or remove them. And that would be 2 3-point NCUs then. But there's a little bit of finesse here, it seems like.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a little bit of an odd one. I mean, I guess the thing that's good about it is it's a 3-point
right
MCU. Right?
And I mean,
so
you're going to be this ties up well with the Baratheon Wardens, who can do target opening. When this unit attacks, you may expend a weakened token. Oh no, that's not. Oh no, with their Warhammer ability, if the defender rolls a 1 on any defense saves, they become weakened.
Yeah.
So if you just wanted to be like, go ahead, I don't care about you hitting me. I want to blast you for 2 wounds.
Yeah, I mean, against a unit like a giant or something like that.
Ugh.
Yeah. You're like, cool. All right. Maybe that's enough to kill you,
Yeah, that's true.
And so it is 2 auto wounds if you can get a token on first. So I think it's reasonable. You maybe take him and Shira.
And there's also, so that's kind of like these different styles of play. Then there's also the mobility style of Baratheon play, which comes from the Seaworth characters. So Davos, the hero of Blackwater. Now Davos has 3 versions that came in this set. So his attachment commander version is Loyalty Stannis Baratheon and has Pathfinder. So the unit that he's in gets +1 movement and ignores the dangerous, hindering, and rough terrain keywords. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I just wonder, is that the style of play a lot of people are going to lean into? I mean, has any of these sort of spoken to you so far, being like, oh, I want to have, faster, stronger, better?
I mean, it's an infantry unit, right? So it's like, great. So now, theoretically, my Sentinels could be moving at a speed of 6 and like ignoring all sort of terrain penalties. I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know. Do you put them in the role or faithful? Like, do they need the help getting around?
Yeah, I don't know. And so when you put him into your army, he replaces the card Ours is the Fury, which is the one that allows you to make a free melee attack, attack an attacker when you are attacked, but not destroyed. And so that's such a great card. So he replaces that with Flea Bottom Tricks. When a friendly combat unit activates, the unit may make a free march or maneuver action. So you activate 4 tactics cards, and so now you're doubling down on that maneuverability. So you're able to get where you want to be. I mean, that's a big trade-off. It's a huge swing in the style of play that the Baratheons are. Like, Ours is the Fury is like an iconic Baratheon card.
Yes.
So
the trick is always with Ours is the Fury, though. That's the one where you have to like be attacked and survive, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Baratheons are pretty hardy.
Yeah, that's true. Although the other one, oh gosh, what card is it? It's Last Stand, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I like with Stagnates, because then you get that like 1 mega hit before you're dead.
And so, Davos also has the tactics cards, Everything. When a friendly combat unit is destroyed, you may move 1 attachment from that unit to another friendly combat unit within long range, ignoring the usual attachment restrictions. So you got to start thinking about like, what are your mega combos here that you want to set up? Do you take a unit of like Stormcrow's Chaff or something that you're gonna like run up and be like, go, 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 die, and then be like, now I have the ultimate unit?
I don't know if I mean like so would you really sacrifice a unit on purpose just to get 2 attachments into a unit? Like, how good
I don't know if there's any unit in here right now that I want that attachment so badly. But there's got to be some guy who's got like, his wall with like red strings pinned around to different attachment cards. That's like, this is the ultimate combination, and he'll, make some ultimate unit out of this that gets, Walder Frayed or something. But
yeah.
Then there's Parlay. When a friendly combat unit activates as its action, this unit may place 1 activation token on an enemy combat unit within short range.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a unit that's like a warden unit that's just basically holding the line. You go, I don't care about anything else. I'm just going to go ahead and make you not be able to do anything with this other unit. That's pretty good.
I mean, you got 2 of these in your card. And so on a turn, you could just be like, 2 of these in your deck. So on your turn, you could just be like, oh yeah, 4 activation combat unit list. Like, well, 50% of
Yeah.
your army ain't doing anything this
Yeah.
round.
Well, and think about like, I mean, how bad that would be though against free folk. You're like, I'm never gonna use that card. Right?
What are you talking about? It's gonna be like, well, you got 8 raiders and then like 1 unit that you care about. Like the 1 unit you care about isn't doing anything.
I guess, yeah. Yeah,
And then
cool.
let's see, yeah, and so you can't when a friendly combat unit activates, so it's not an influence. I can't. How do I counter this as free folk? I don't really. I just lose the activation. I guess I have them to spare, but some people that's gonna really gunk up the wheels.
Oh yeah, I mean you go with those like 3 NCU attachments lists, and then yeah, you're suddenly one of your elite units is just stuck for a turn.
Yeah.
Obviously, they can trigger off of like stuff on the tactics board, but
right. That's necessary. Then you just beat him on the tactics board. But for the True King as his final 4th card, when a friendly combat unit activates, choose one of the following. If this unit contains Davos Seaworth, you may choose 2 instead. You can't choose the same effect twice. Yeah, that makes sense. The unit gains +2 movement until the end of the turn.
Imagine if you could choose that twice, and then you could have +4 plus your natural +1.
Yeah, and this unit attacks gains +1 to hit this turn, and then the unit restores up to 2 wounds and removes a condition token. So out of these 3 options, I mean, crazy increase to your speed, and if Davos is in there, that's then a +3 because those do stack.
I mean, what's great about this is that this is a card that's very flexible for whatever you need it to do. So there's this concept in like Magic of like modal cards that are really popular because they have like 3 different modes on them, and this isn't like exactly that, right? So its power comes from the fact that it's not ever going to be a dead card, right? Like you might have a situation where parlay is not super useful. For the True King is always going to find a place to be played. That's what's good about it.
And so he's got 2 of his 4 tactics cards are off of when a friendly combat unit activates, which is sharing a tactics trigger, but it's a flexible one.
Well, the only thing that's kind of annoying is that it's it has to be their activation, right? So it's not like when they make like a melee attack or you know what I mean. So it's at least it's not.
I misspoke. Flea Bottom Tricks is also when a friendly combat unit activates.
Yeah. I mean, at least it's not as annoying as like when a friendly engaged combat unit activates, because that's what a lot of the Baratheon default list tactics are, and those are super hard to trigger sometimes. But yeah, still.
So what do you think? I mean, does that speak to you? Or are you like, man, I want to run some Davos in my army?
No.
Not really.
Not in the current incarnation. I mean, it's just not what to me at least, it's not what the faction's trying to do. They are their faction identity is a slow plotting unit, and giving 1 unit +1 speed and ignoring terrain by default is like a solid meh. And then a lot of those cards are fine, but not blowing my hair back.
I wonder if we're gonna see it maybe be like a specific game mode style of play where it's like some of those new beta modes like on an open field where it's like basically like football. You got to get a token to the end zone, and you just be like, I get the stuff for them, and then the smugglers run it down the field.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something like that where he probably could be useful. It's just like I think with the faction right now, it's like I don't really see I don't see a lot of like support for what he's trying to do.
Then we got Davos Seaworth in his 2nd incarnation as the Hand of the True King as an NCU at 4 points with Smuggler's Cunning. He begins the game with 2 orders tokens on him. When a friendly combat unit charges after rolling charge distance dice, you may remove 1 order token from Davos to re-roll any of those dice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just so important for you to be getting in there and dealing your damage and having successful charges.
Yeah. Well, how many times have you been in that situation where you're like, I need a 4 to like reach the enemy, or a 5, and you're like,
or it's just like
crap.
Oh, it's not that far, but I'm going through something that like makes me roll additional dice.
Yes. And you need that charge to happen in order to not get completely boned. Like this is a great way to just kind of give you a little bit of an insurance policy. I know the opportunity cost is a little high because there's a lot of good NCUs at that point range, but
that's the real scary thing is now Baratheons are not hurting for NCUs, but that's gonna be he's useful.
I mean, that's just he's just generically useful, not like a super effective synergy piece, but like that will come up.
And then, man, I'm trying to find all my Davos here. Then we've got Davos Seaworth, the Onion Knight, with his order Smuggler's Aid. When another friendly combat unit with his order Smuggler's Aid, when another friendly combat unit with 1 rank remaining activates, the unit suffers D3 wounds. This unit suffers D3 wounds. Restore 1 plus that many wounds to the targeted friendly combat unit. He's a true loyalist. If you attach this unit to a unit with loyalty, when attacking with only 1 remaining rank, this unit counts as having 2 remaining ranks instead. So basically, you can take damage to his unit to heal other units.
Oh, that's how that works?
Right? You suffer D3 wounds, and then you get to restore that many wounds to a friendly unit.
Yeah.
With only 1 remaining rank. So he's going to keep these guys alive, but man, you're in the danger zone. Then you're down your last rank.
What's the point of that one?
I just feel like it's very... The self-damage for benefits part of this style of a faction.
Yeah.
It's very risky. I mean, it's high reward in a lot of cases, and you're going to want to, if you're doing that style of play, like you're going to want to be able to have something like this to be able to make sure those units don't die when you're doing damage to them. Yeah. But you're really just you're just moving wounds around.
Yeah, this one's really rough. I mean, like, where do you put them? Because you put them in, you would think like, oh, I'll put them in Stag Knights maybe, but then like the true loyalist kind of screws them up, right?
Right.
Because you don't want them to, like, you'll take wounds, but you're like, okay, well now you kind of having 2 remaining ranks, so you get like less bonuses. Although I guess they don't have loyalty, do they? So yeah.
Is this the guy that when he? No, yeah, I don't know.
Ugh. I don't think his time has come yet. But you also know how I feel about character attachments in general.
That's true.
Mostly, they're just not good enough for what they do.
What about Davos Seaworth? That was the other Seaworth that I was forgetting. The King Squire with his
very forgettable
heroism. When this unit declares a charge action, the unit suffers D3 wounds, but counts as rolling a 6 for any charge distance roll. And he also has true loyalist like his father, where it counts as, if you're on your last remaining rank, you count as having 2 ranks instead. I don't know. 2 points.
Yuck.
You could take the Davos Seaworth ENCU at 4 points, double the cost to get to have 2 order tokens. So this guy will just kill your own unit and make you count as a 6, guaranteed.
7 is so bad.
I don't know. I just, that's the same thing. The problem is, like, right now we have all these awesome, like, I think that's going back to my thoughts about Stannis in general right now. This whole hero box is that you have so many tools now, and you're like, holy crap, like, these could be really good and they're not bad, but it's just like, you only right now have the core units in the Baratheon starter set. You know, where are you putting these things? I kind of feel like it's like, I've got this vision of now, like, all these things this faction can do, but I don't necessarily have those tools yet.
Right. Well, and how many loyalty units do we have in that faction, right? So it's like, so much of their thing about true loyalists, like, there's one option,
right,
for loyalty.
So,
right,
I don't know. So I feel like I'm sounding maybe a little bit down on the hero box. I think the hero box is amazing. It's just that, like, we've been spoiled for choice right here, and yet, you know, not all the choices are useful yet.
Totally, yeah. So it's like, it's just, I think, like, their time just hasn't come yet. Like, you need more like loyalty specific units. Obviously, like, character attachments can like impart that loyalty to the units in there. Like, if you had, you know, Stannis One True King Commander in a unit of whatever, like, you know, then they're a Stannis unit. But like, otherwise, it's like, but you can't put him and Devin in the same unit. So you have to put Devin in like a Roller Faithful. Is that good? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
Then
they're 9 points.
Yeah.
I mean, a Bolton Flare is like way, way, way better for 1 point.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
It's just, it doesn't make sense.
I think maybe we got to just be, you know, back on Dragonstone, sulking a little bit, and then as more stuff comes out, then you really conquer the world, you know.
Yeah. I mean, this is just, I think it's one of those back of the binder cards, and then maybe one day he'll have his time in the sun, but today is not that day.
Not that day. Andrew Estermont, the first of the Kingsmen. He's the commander attachment, and he's got the order Meticulous Planning. When this unit activates, discard 2 tactics cards to search your tactics decks for any 1 card and add it to your hand, and then shuffle your tactics deck. Ooh, what do you think about that?
That is a pretty cool card. I mean, that is I mean, like, think about it. You have to have it's when your unit activates, so you can go and find exactly what you're looking for. Obviously, you need to have like drawn enough cards to pay for that, right?
Yeah.
But I think one of the problems with like the Baratheon cards in general is that you wind up with like a pretty good number of dead cards in your hand. This allows you to just throw two of them away and go grab something that you do need. I wish you could pair this guy with the card draw guy from
Yeah, Renly.
yeah, Eldon Estermont.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like PB and J right now.
Well, that's I think one thing. So Stannis doesn't have a lot of card draw options,
Right.
and so this is kind of right now your main choice for that.
Were Andrew Estermont and the other guy was Eldon Estermont? Were they enemies? Is that how it worked? Like one went one way, one went the other way. One went Renly, one went Stannis. I mean, I don't remember the characters in the book really.
Yeah, basically they both declare at the onset of the War of the Five Kings. Lord Estermont declares for his grandson and liege lord Renly Baratheon. Yeah, basically they split. They go both ways.
Weird. Huh.
And should we talk about they get captured? They both bend the knee to the Joffrey Baratheon. So they go to Joffrey after Stannis's defeat at the Battle of Blackwater.
Should we talk about the tactics cards for Andrew?
Yeah, so at any cost. His first one here, when a friendly combat unit would fail a panic test, kill one model in this unit to automatically pass the panic test instead.
Good.
It's useful. I think we see that in a lot of other things, though. I don't know.
Think about for like Sentinels or something like that.
Oh, I guess you're right. You're right.
Kill a model like that is basically like a guard captain, right? Effect.
Yeah.
Which is so good to like just say, well, this panic test would cost me 4 wounds. I'll just take 1. It just stops you from having that catastrophic loss. Good.
Okay. Attrition tactics. Start of any turn, deal 1 friendly combat unit any number of wounds. For each wound dealt, one opponent must discard that many tactics cards at random.
Oh, that's awesome.
Holy crap.
Yes. That's literally just like, okay, you've got 3. I would take 3 wounds to a unit of wardens to make you discard your entire hand. Wow. Playing Lannisters, and you're like, well, I don't want to deal with whatever you got going on, so I will go ahead and just delete your hand.
Yeah, that's insane. I think the only challenge is really going to be at some point being like, I mean, God, those Tyrion plays, where they're just like adaptive tactics or whatever that is, getting their cards they need, and then just be like, nah, yeah, you lost that card. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
I think the real problem is going to be it's like some styles of play when you got those like Night Watch players that are like, I got my whole deck in my hand by turn 3.
Cool. Like, I'm going to make you discard your whole. I'm just going to.
Right, but I mean, like, what can I do? What can I do? 20 wounds on or something? Be like,
sure.
But even still, like, oh my God, would you delete? I mean, would you delete a unit? I mean, it depends what your list is. God, could you build a list, or you just be like, yeah, I delete. This unit is here for deleting and you losing all your cards.
You're just soaking up wounds. Yeah, like a unit of like. Well, I'm wardens are the cheapest, right? So you just take 3 wounds a turn. Obviously, you can't play this card over and over again. Otherwise, this would be.
There's 2 in your hand. I mean, so really, it's just going to be against those stockpile your hand sort of lists. But that's like a hard.
You can also go get it, right? So like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, his ability is that like.
Oh my God!
If you don't have it on turn 1, you can just go get it.
Yeah. Gosh, that's pretty amazing.
I think it's a cool card for sure.
So that's going to be meta shifting in some areas for sure.
Just think about like all the times where you're like, I think I have like the plan for it, because like part of like this game is that the unknown is like you have the known, which is the board, right? The board state. And you can kind of like you see like, okay, I know what the abilities are. I know what everybody can do here. What you don't know is what your opponent has in their hand. Do they have an effect that's going to allow them to counter what you're about to play?
Right.
So how do you counter that? You just remove their entire hand.
Right.
And now
that guy's been, even if it's 1 card, like it's like that guy's been holding on to that 1 card all game. You're getting down to the 11th hour here, and you can be like, nah, I'll take a wound to have that certainty.
Well, and you could just maybe remove a card that's going to be like totally screwing them over, like something that they're really counting on for like later on, setting it up, and like the free folk card that redeploys a unit. You're just like, well, now you just don't have that one anymore. Like that's really, really, really strong. And then you have perfect information on the board. Now you know exactly what your opponent can do. And it's just a question of like, who are they activating? Very cool card.
If only they had used this at the Battle of Blackwater, they would have.
Yeah.
The reliable bannerman is his final one. After this unit is attacked but not destroyed by a melee attack, your favorite trigger. Oh no, that's the engaged one. But after this unit is attacked but not destroyed by a melee attack, attach this card to the unit. Attach this card to that unit until the end of the game. While this card is attached, this unit may never become panicked. If this is Andrew's unit, it also may never become weakened. Like a little mini Stannis here almost. You get like a.
I mean, yeah, it's.
You got two of these. You can make in the game 2 of your units be immune to being panicked, and if one of them's Andrew's unit, they can't get. You're just half of the tactics conditions. You just like whatever. I don't care about.
Yeah, it'll come up for sure. It's just like how good is that? Like, okay, you can't become panicked or weakened. It's like,
if you're playing against Boltons or something, you'd be like, screw your panic tricks.
I guess, yeah.
Roos and your little dog too.
For that, yeah. I mean, it's fine. I would say it's okay.
I mean, at some point, right when your other card is screw you, tactics hand, you got to be like, well, let's tone back our other one. Yeah, and he also has a 2-point attachment version, Andrew Estermont, True Loyalist, which has critical blow and the same True Loyalist ability where if you're down to 1 rank and you count as having 2 instead. So getting critical blowout on units, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. So then it's just gonna what? Like you're again, who are you putting him in though? That's the question, right?
I mean, I think
critical blow.
Yeah, I mean, critical blow really, especially maybe it's Sentinels. That's an expensive unit. I'm kind of scared. I don't play Baratheons really, to be honest. I think I played 1 game. Putting a lot of points into Sentinels is a little scary.
Yeah, they're not that survivable. I would even maybe put them in like Roller Faithful, maybe.
Maybe okay, yeah, that might work.
Because then they've got the benefit of the True Loyalist part of it, right?
Now, is this the attachment that you want to play with Davos that you can like pull into another unit? Is there some sort of combos that we can set up here? No, I guess only Renly Loras is the one that has precision. I know a lot of people will just go crazy for a critical blow and precision.
Yeah, that's a gross combo.
But no, I guess that's it. Well, I mean, critical blow is still good on its own. But yeah, there are some good choices. But at 2 points, there might not be a best choice yet.
It's like, I mean, you could throw them in Roller Faithful, but then again, you're like, isn't the Bolton Slayer better for 1 point?
Right.
I think so. If you're taking 2 units of them, obviously, well, no, I'd just take a Bolton Slayer in each one.
I don't know. And then there's also Melisandre, the NCU, the Red Woman. Man, we've proxied some games with her. And at 5 points, I was like, that's a lot of points. She's pretty good. She does work.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a powerful ability.
So her ability is Sacrifice to the Lord of Light. When Melisandre activates, 1 enemy combat unit suffers a panic test. Before they roll, you may target a friendly infantry unit and deal them 1 to 3 wounds. For each wound dealt, the enemy suffers -1 to their panic test roll and +1 additional wound if they fail. Whew. You just nuking stuff.
It's really strong, and like I guess the question is like, what you want in this faction. That's I think what's missing is either a unit that benefits from taking wounds, so like a Berserker style where they're like getting actively better by being damaged. Maybe Stagnites is kind of that unit, but they have a little hard time surviving. Mm-hmm. Or what you want to do is have like a better way to recover wounds more easily in that faction, which is all of Renly's cards, right?
Right.
So it's like what you really want is like Melisandre to be in a Renly unit,
right? If the two combined.
Oh my god,
that'd be a fun, crazy game mode to be like, as a Baratheon, you just play like, here's a not official, like casual game mode where you just play all Baratheon. See what sort of ridiculous list you could make.
Just because then you could throw something like, like Rose Knights or something where it's just like they're recovering wounds all the time anyway. And so then you just pop them in there and then you don't really care that much about what she's doing, right?
Yeah. God, remember the Who's the Boss game mode that Greg Young was running where you showed up and you had your faction, you got a random commander from another faction?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Baratheons are going to play well into something like that. We're like, oh, yeah, I'll take a new thing. It's very carefully balanced, I think. I think that's the point, though, right, is that you don't have these options. You are starved, so that it's like a very deliberate decision to be like, I'm going to hurt this unit, to do some big effect, and now I've got to find ways to mitigate that.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what's sort of missing from the faction currently.
And then it's Selyse and Shireen. I think Selyse.
That's right.
Queen and Princess. Sacrifice to the Flames. It's an influence. When influencing a unit, that unit counts as a roller unit. Okay, so here's your way to get that out. A 4-point NCU. Each time that unit attacks after rolling dice, it may suffer D3 wounds to do the same amount of wounds to the defender.
Situationally, this is really strong.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a 5-point unit attacking an 8-point unit and I'm taking D3 wounds to deal D3 wounds to you, I'm coming out on top of points, right?
Right.
Or if it's a unit that's hard to wound, like a giant or whatever, like this is a great way to just go, well, I'm going to take D3 wounds, deal D3 wounds to you. That's strong.
Man, yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for me to wrap my head around like all these changes. Thank goodness, actually, the Baratheons aren't as like developed as a faction yet, because this is just going to open up so many elements and things to watch out for.
Think about this: like you could claim the combat zone, right? Lay this influence down in your unit. You get your free attack with the unit, deal D3 wounds to the defender, and then
the panic test.
Assuming they survive,
you
could do this when you attack as your activation later on. You could do that again, right? So it has the potential to throw out a lot of free wounds, which is good. Obviously you're taking them yourself, but again, it's like the situation you're trying to establish with this kind of card is I'm spending my cheaper units' wounds on something that's more expensive.
Wow. It's craziness. Well, I mean, and that's basically the Stannis side of things. If you guys are listening, let us know what do you think about how Stannis is playing out here. I really do think we do see these categories developing, and where are these going to deepen? Which of these do you find like call to you, and that you're like, man, I really want to do, I want to run mobility Baratheons, and like, how can I maximize that? Or you're maybe all about the self-damage. Are you taking certain neutral units to soak up the damage? I mean, I guess Baratheon Wardens are pretty cheap at 5 points.
I think I want to try. I think I want to try a heavy roller army. I want to go with like that Lord of Light faction, just to give it a go. See like what it can do if I really lean into it. I still think the thing we need is cavalry. In a ranged unit. So I mean, luckily you have mercenaries for that, but like I think that's the piece that, like, when I play pure Baratheon,
Melisandre has become your ranged unit.
No, that's true. She's like a siege weapon basically. But you know what I mean? Like having like some bowmen. So playing pure Baratheons was rough, but like you throw Stormcrow archers in there and a unit of flayed men, it's like, okay, now you got yourself a stew going, right?
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. It is unfortunate with COVID-19 kind of wreaking havoc across the globe. There may be some delays in releases as parts of the world are shut down. At the same time, it's been 3 weeks or something since I've been able to get outside and play a game with anybody. Right. So it's not like I'm excited for new stuff, but it's not like I can do anything with it yet. So I guess the delay is just all relative. That's true. I've got a lot of things I've been painting. So
I think I'm going to bring my paint set like into my, sort of office here, my work from home office. And I think in between conference calls and stuff, I'll just like do a little basing or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's awesome. Oh man, I can't wait to see some of the stuff you got going.
Yeah. I mean, no promises. You know me.
What?
I've painted like 2 models so far. So
hey, that's okay. Baratheon's on the way.
They're happening.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. So this is episode 71. As always, we really do appreciate your support. It's been challenging times, and I know everybody is probably in a similar situation in sort of a lockdown. So hopefully this was a good distraction and that you're enjoying yourself. And, stay tuned till next time. And in the meantime, I wish we all could be getting our miniatures on the table.